Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Give me great pleasure to be here this afternoon to share and perhaps to learn from you more than sharing. What can we do to push the agenda of Islamic wealth management one step further, or perhaps from scratch to becoming a sophisticated market for many Muslim high net worth individual and corporates to be part of the Islamic wealth management. This is interesting topic because Islamic wealth management by and large is not yet developed, not only in Malaysia but also in other parts of the world, even in Middle East. Though in Middle East they have their own way of managing the wealth through the family offices. So the family offices sometimes are bigger than the bank in terms of asset that they have. So don't take them for granted. Sometimes they are bigger than any small bank, of course, in that part of the world. So in Malaysia, somehow the family is not that strong enough. In fact, in Malay society, we don't have family name, so family has no tie, has no culture, has no cultural foundation to group and to manage the wealth of the family, unlike some other races of the world, because they have the family root and the family trees, and they know they are managing for the next generation of the family. So, looking from the helicopter point of view, this topic needs more discussion and needs more input from all of us, basically, to really understand and perhaps try to put some textbook, some CEO perspective, some investor perspective, some regulator perspective to make it happen in this country, as we are going to see more and more medium class, and inshallah in the way forward more of high net worth individual in Malaysia and the region. I have bad news and good news. Bad news is that I have 3 slides. The good news is that I have only 3 slides as well. So, but perhaps we can have more discussion as we go on. The other way around. This one. Okay, thank you. And before that, I think I would like to put or record my appreciation to the organizer for having me in this session to interact with all of you. I'm not the expert on this topic, to be honest, because we have not seen the product per se, so that we can deal with them confidently. It's more of brainstorming, brain and storming. Sometimes we have the storming without the brain. So, yeah. So basically, Islamic finance, when it started a few years ago, the focus has been very much on the retail, because the demand from the people on the street asking for Shariah-compliant product, for them to be away from interest-based transaction, for the saving account and some basic consumer products in the market. Then we have the corporate sector join the bandwagon. We have seen the development of trade finance, the overdraft, credit card, and though they are retail to some extent, and many more products coming along. But there was no focus, there was no discussion. How can we offer products which can meet the requirement of, people who are of high net worth kind of character? So there was no discussion even in the entire Islamic world as we speak. So the history was the history, but moving forward, we have to see how can we put the effort to change and to improve the current landscape of Islamic banking and finance. So in the past, as you can see, we started with a very basic product in banking, so people can save the money, can invest in the banks, can take the financing from the bank, from their car, house, and what have you. And takaful, they have basic product. Most of them are protection more than investment, though they have some product of investment more than protection. But in the last 20 years, most of the products are meant for protection. And the element of investment is not that emphasized so much in most, if not all, takaful products in the market for the life, for the family takaful. For the general, nothing much to do with wealth management. Islamic equity market, we started with screening the stock before we have the RHB Islamic Index. If you can still recall the name, we have Bank Islam Islamic Index. Then the Securities Commission came in a bit later, tried to screen the stock market, and from there we can develop mutual fund, unit trust, again to allow Muslim and non-Muslim who are taking this kind of investment to be able to invest in Shariah-compliant stock. And we have Sukuk, fixed income instrument, which is a good hybrid of asset allocation. So we have the equity, which is risky and volatile, and we have also fixed income, which is quite stable, that can give fixed and stable income irrespective of the market condition. So there has been the earlier stages of banking and finance in Malaysia, 1983 all the way to perhaps 2007, 2008. That has been the focus. So nothing to do with such a product, no complicated product in the market. All of them have been very much plain vanilla. And there was no demand. So it's about demand, because sometimes the supply will not come in unless there is a demand. So we have to create the demand to the banking sector, to the Islamic capital market sector, for them to look into the demand which is coming. As much as we wanted to have the product to our client, but if there's no demand, there's no point of having the products. So we are going to waste our time and waste our resources. Whether there's a demand or not, it's up to you to interact later on. How strong the demand is for Muslim, high net worth individual, philanthropists or otherwise to be part of this ecosystem. So I don't have the answer for that. Just a very academic at the moment. In the past we have seen takaful products, which is the closest product available for Islamic wealth management. So people can invest for their children education perhaps, so they can start buying into the premium or contribution upon the death or permanent disability of the father, the guardian. The kids, the children at the age of 18 years old can benefit from the fund of investment. So this is basic investment for the retail product in the market. I don't think the benefit can go more than 1 million, very much from 300 to 1 million kind of benefit. But high net worth individual, they are looking for investment that can give them at least 5 million or 10 million upon the death of the policy holder, if you like. So there's none in the market until today. Except recently we have what we call unit-linked investment, which give more focus on investment rather than protection. Perhaps the investment portion of the premium is 90%, up to 90%, from 70 to 90%, and 10 to 30% are meant for protection. If someone were to die, they can take away something from the premium to cover the basic expenses, but the investment has been the focus under unit-linked investment. For Muslim lawyers, and they're very active, NGOs and the Muslim community, somehow they have been focusing on something which is traditional in character. They have been focusing on the will and inheritance, which for me good, but from the practical point of view, it adds no value to the market, because this is something in the system already. Just to manage whatever we have is not adding the value to the community. I mean, it's good to have something systematic. You have the will, you can teach people of how to write the will. Many people make money, a lot of money from giving this advisory job, but they are very much retail. Unless we have high net worth individual who is willing to write the will, 1/3 of his wealth. If he's a billionaire, so 1/3 is what, 300 million, then you can have a 2% fee. That means a lot. but how many of them in the market? So this is, I'm not here to downplay the function of some sectors in the market, focusing on will and inheritance planning and so on, but this is taken for granted already, which you should be doing after all. But we have to see product beyond the will and inheritance. Somehow Muslim community, they have been very, very busy and occupied with this issue, which for me have no value-added services. We have to think beyond the will and inheritance planning to really talk about Islamic wealth management. However, having said that, the early stage of Islamic banking and finance have provided strong foundation in terms of knowledge, in terms of understanding of the product thinking, and of course we cannot start from scratch, we have to start from something. And the last 20 years, 2007 and below, was a good foundation, perhaps nowadays, to really launch into a new area of more sophisticated Islamic wealth management that can serve the purpose. There is tax incentive, tax attractive, transparent, mentioned by some other speaker just now, very transparent, with impact measurement, with the GPS, traceability. So these are the new terms that we have to put forward. Being compliant does not solve the problem. We have to add more value in terms of impact measurement. Even for zakat, even for wakaf, many people, I'm one of them, wanted to donate more, wanted to give more, wanted to be more money back to the society in all sectors, but we are not that confident how does the money being used, or how is money being used, what will be the impact. $1 impact on the poor, $1 impact on education, $1, ringgit impact on people on the street, homeless, for example. So there's no system of making it GPS kind of, you can trace the movement of the money and the impact on the society. So the philanthropists, they are willing to give because they wanted to see the impact. Even Bill Gates and the wife, they are being focusing themselves. They spend a lot of time to see the impact on the ground, which we are not able. When the moment we pay the money to zakat or wakaf, you just pray that the money is safe. Yeah. Okay. Are there sufficient Islamic wealth management products in the market? To be fair with the market, I have listed some of the basic, perhaps the early origin of Islamic wealth management, if you like. Islamic feeder fund, we have some of Islamic fund managers. They have the capabilities of launching feeder fund, taking the money from the Malaysian investors, and 100% of that fund to be invested in overseas, in another fund altogether, in US dollar currency and what have you. So the money will be collected from Malaysia and invested in global portfolio through the feeder fund. We have a few, but somehow the performance has not been very good, and that has pushed this product a bit marginalized in the market. I don't know what happened. Perhaps the selection of the fund manager overseas is not that appropriate. That gives the opportunity for investors to have the global exposure, which if they were to do themselves, does not give the economics of scale. But if they were to invest collectively in Malaysia, and the same money, the amount of money, 100 million, for example, can be invested in some other fund overseas. Malaysian, through the MIFC, has been inviting so many global fund managers. We have among the top in the world now in Malaysia. So Malaysian investors can invest in their in their portfolio easily without going to their office in New York or Paris and London and whatnot. So again, it's a new beginning, and many fund managers in Malaysia are very much happy, so they can invest direct with the global Islamic equity and fixed income in Malaysia without going to global market, which is the first in the world, where Malaysian government the central bank and the GLCs are inviting them and provided them with some not bad sufficient seed fund for them to start the business and try to grow the business from time to time. Unit-linked investment, for you coming from Takaful, you are very aware, or insurance, you're aware of this product. Not that many, and not that many people is aware of this product in the market, which is a good Islamic wealth management for high net worth individual, for them to have either single premium or on installment, because the focus would be very much on investment more than the protection. Private equity fund, which is quite challenging in Malaysia. I have my own private equity fund partnering with ACA in Singapore, the Asian Capital Alliance, which is owned by Sumitomo, up to 40%. We have good name, good track record, but investors in Malaysia are very, very, afraid or risk averse when it comes to private equity. In fact, many of the GLCs, they will come to the second closing, not to the first closing. First closing, no one is willing to put them, even 50 million or 100 million for that matter. So it's not easy to get the first closing from the local investors. So we have not seen any private equity fund which are performing well, like in the West, for example, where the high net worth individual are putting their money, and the rate is good, 30%, 40%. Our partner in Japan, the ACA, the Sumitomo one, the average IRR for them for the last 10 years is about 30%. And the exit is not 7 years, it's 3 years, which is quite, though they put 5 years, but they can exit. But still, track record is something. But the ability, the confidence to invest is something else. So it takes some time for the people like private equity fund to attract the Malaysian investors, even GLC for that matter, to understand the behavior of private equity fund. Fund of fund, we have a few. A fund which has invested or which is investing in so many other funds, Shariah-compliant fund of the world, Islamic mutual fund, which is quite easy to do. The moment you have 10 underlying funds, so you have 10 underlying exposure in 10 different markets, and this is a good diversification for the, again, high net worth individual. I was made to understand the Securities Commission is going to relax on the rating requirement for Sukuk. At the moment, from the very beginning of fixed income in Malaysia, the bond or the Sukuk should be rated by Malaysian local rating agencies. But 2017 onward, there's no requirement of rating. It's up to the market to dictate. If the investors are willing to take the risk of the issuer without having the rating, that can be done in 2017. And this is good because I have seen in the market many high net worth individuals through our connection. We call them auntie and uncle kind of investor. They are not sophisticated, but they have extra money, 10 million, 5 million, and they wanted to invest not in rated Sukuk, because rated Sukuk is good from risk perspective, but the yield is very much comparable to fixed deposit. So why should I invest in Sukuk and with all the prospectus and whatnot? Why should easier for me to put the money in FD and that's it? They are looking for non-rated Sukuk that can give a higher yield of 8%, 7%. You have seen in the market a few. There are not that many. There are a few unrated Sukuk, but the subscription is superb from the auntie and uncle kind of investors. Most of them are from our Chinese colleagues and family friends. They are more than happy to consider this Sukuk, and they are taking a bit of risk, but they're happy with 7 to 9 kind of % a year. So much better for them. Yeah. So hopefully the non-rated Sukuk will open up a new, because sometimes this high net worth individual, they know that particular issuer. Though they're not rated, they know that this business has been there for the last 30 years. I know the family, I know the management, I know the business operation, so I don't mind putting my money though they are not rated, because I can expect more yield from this investment. Islamic trust or wakaf, if you like. Again, in the last session of Labuan IBFC, we have been talking about wakaf and trust. The way forward, we have Islamic trust now in place, we have foundation in place. Everything has been in place, but the take-up has not been very good due to many things. For example, I mentioned about the capability of investment by the fund manager. Though you have a good vehicle, good foundation, but you have to bring first-class fund manager to show to the founder, if you like, that the asset can be invested well, can be structured in such a way, not only Shariah-compliant, but also can give a good expected return to the investment for the generation to come. That's why I'm putting there sophisticated investment strategy. We have some product in the market where the investment return is linked to the reference asset. You are investing in equity, for example, but the dividend payoff to you is not linked to the performance of the equity, but linked to the performance of some other underlying asset like inflation rate, if you like the inflation rate, or currency rate, which I don't think we like it that much nowadays. So whatever reference rate in the world that we can be replicated, because some high net worth individuals, they like that particular reference asset, but they cannot invest direct. So they can invest in a fund, equity fund, where the performance, the payoff to the fund is linked to the performance of whatever reference rates in the world. It could be, 500 kind of S&P index. It could be the basket of commodities in Chicago stock market. It can be anything, but they like the exposure to that particular kind of reference rates of the world. So this has been some of the market product in the market, and I would like to emphasize very much on the competency of the provider. This is something that we have to work together and try to be honest to ourselves. Are we capable enough to offer something which is of high standard, of capital protected, among others, high watermark? High watermark means your performance of the fund is always above certain indicated rate. If the performance somehow below that, the watermark, then there will be third-party undertaking or obligation or what have you to top up, so that at all the time you are floating, not below the watermark. We have seen that in many products in Middle East, in Europe, in Luxembourg in particular, very popular, and they are selling like, they call it hot cake in some of the GCC market. Again, it requires some actuarial principle, the risk and the premium, the investment and the return, and also the fund manager you are selecting to manage this fund to make it workable. In fact, some of the Western banks, they have the platform for the high watermark. Deutsche Bank has one, Barclays has one. For Islamic, I'm talking about. Of course, they have so many platforms for conventional, but we don't have local bank that has this kind of platform, the high watermark platform, to give the investors more confidence. Of course, they have to be very careful, because the moment they do it wrongly, they have to take the loss, because investors, for them, is high watermark. Irrespective of market performance and condition, they have to take back the capital and the expected profit or dividend at the end of the day. And the last one, cross-border transaction for better diversification. Most, if not all, Islamic Malaysian product are domestic, RM-based, and industry-based in Malaysia, which is not good enough for these people. They are looking for beyond Malaysian, regional, ASEAN, and perhaps worldwide. Now we come to the last slide. Good news. Okay. I'm repeating myself. I think I need to emphasize more and more on the track record and capabilities of not only asset diversification. We have to have so many assets available, we can pick and choose, and also asset allocation, the ability to have track record in asset allocation. Let's say for youngsters, the early graduates, what would be the proper asset allocation for them? equity, for example, perhaps 70, or fixed income 30, or the other way around. So we don't have a clear track record capabilities in Malaysia to manage the whole value chain of medium class and high net worth individual moving forward. Yeah, I've seen that in many other markets. In fact, I've seen that in South Africa, one Islamic fund, which is one of the best in the world, having in place some product which is one of the best in the world in terms of asset allocation. And they have been performing all the indices of the world for the last 10 years. They have been outperforming the indices of the world in the last 10 years. When the index goes down, they go down as well, but not too much. Still outperforming. Okay? When the index goes up, they are also going higher, better and higher than the other indices of the world. This is something I wanted to put to perhaps Labuan FSA and Labuan FSC and everyone. Perhaps we can bring to one classroom all the conventional wealth management products and try to make them Islam or Muslim, and try to Islamicize, if you like, or Islamize this product rather than going through around and try to reinvent the wheel. Though I'm a scholar myself by training, but I have seen this can be done cheaper and faster. If we can put whatever product we have in the market, of course some of them are too bad, we cannot make them compliant. There are many derivative products. In the West, they call it, you buy the car without the brake. CDS, for example. Sometimes you buy the car without the engine. And you can buy the car over and over many times. The engine is somewhere, but the car has been sold. This is very bad product because very risky product. We cannot make them Islamic at any cost. But some of the products are very good in terms of the thinking process, the economic behavior. We can make them compliant as well. So rather than trying ourselves to create new, fresh product, why not we list down all the product available in the market? Perhaps Labuan FSA can take the initiative, try to engage some of the expert people like yourself, and how to make them compliant. Out of 10, we can have 3 good enough. Then next year we have the 3, and we have to create more diversification and sophisticated product in the market. Government has to do something a bit extra to encourage high net worth individuals to consider Islamic wealth management from the tax perspective, from whatever incentive that government can give, because otherwise the money will go out from the country. So it's better to retain the money in the country to develop the local GDP, if you like, and because we need this money, huge of money, to be parked and invested, if possible, in Malaysia. Of course, some of them have to go overseas for diversification, but at least some of them can remain in Malaysia. Pan-Asian Islamic wealth management products, just an idea. I don't know how to make it happen, but we can have property fund, we can have a currency fund, we can have fixed income fund, we can have multiple asset fund among the Asian countries. That would be great. And I think we have to invite and put the red carpet to some of the banks to come to Malaysia to set up their Islamic wealth management, because they have the expertise, they have the SOPs, they have the track record, they have the actuarial, they have everything ready. So we can learn from them, we can work together with them. We have some of them in Malaysia, but they are not focusing very much on wealth management. Somehow they are competing with local bank in terms of credit card and housing loan, and which is very unfortunate. Though they have their own products or wealth management somewhere, somehow in Europe, in Western, in North, America, but somehow in Malaysia they are not bringing that product to Malaysia. I think with that, I would like to end my presentation. Quite short one, but perhaps we can compensate by having Q&A. Otherwise, we can go back early. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk. Any questions from the floor? Yes.
Good afternoon, Datuk. I just curious about this Shariah-compliance. Personally, actually, I trade a lot of US equity, MNC's company. Okay, and some of them actually I propose to my clients. Take example, actually, what's the parameters actually you use, to define a company as a Sharia compliance? Okay, like MNC, like it's a Starbucks Sharia compliance.
There are two screening processes. The first screening is to look into core activities. Core activities should exclude the financial activities like giving loan, insurance, entertainment, pornography, weaponry, tobacco-related, non-halal food, and so on and so forth. So these are sectors with the stock code which automatically remove from the screening of the universe, which is quite easy to do, except some companies which are quite complicated. MasterCard, Visa, are they financial or not? They are service industry. So Sony, for example, are they selling the equipment or the music entertainment? Because from the cash flow, from the balance sheet, the music is more than the selling of equipment. You take the General Motors, for example. We thought they are producing and selling cars, but in terms of balance sheet, they are financing the customers to buy the car on loan. So we have this a bit complicated, but not that many of that nature, either black or white. After we have screened the stock, we have to see the balance sheet of the company, the level of conventional leverage. It cannot be more than 1/3 of the asset or market cap. Then we have to see the cash that they have, how much they have the cash, and where they put the cash in interest income or otherwise. Cannot be more than 1/3 of asset or capital market cap. So these are some basic screening. So in the stock market of the world, if you can, let's say, under Dow Jones or S&P and Morgan Stanley, about 2/3 of the stock are not compliant, 1/3 are compliant or is compliant. In Malaysian case, we have our own screening criteria. I'm the chairman of the SAC. Out of 800 stock in Bursa, about 600 stock, 500 to 600 plus are compliant. So we have a number of good universities to invest into. And if you wanted to do more, you can, not marketing, you can go to Amanie screening. It's available in the mobile app. You can put the name of the company, Coca-Cola, Sony. We can give you the answer straight away within 1 second or 2 seconds, either approve or not approve. Why they are approved? You have to come back for me for fee lah. Okay.
I'm not sure with that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. Afternoon, Datuk. I have a technical questions. Principally, I am from a listed company. We deal with Islamic product. The very common one is like loan, or Sukuk. So we buy and sell a lot of things. We always got asked this question by the risk manager. Now, you buy and sell things, so frequently. Are you open to any exposure if it is not executed properly, lah? So who is indemnifying this process? And are we, like if things are not executed properly, like they always answer, if it is transacted instantly, you should not be open to any risk. You're not considered trading or anything. But if it is not executed properly, are we actually liable, for the process being not executed properly?
Liable from which law?
Like let's say, if you are trading, right, you are buying and selling via an agent, like commodity. We always buy tons of CPO with certificates and sell it off.
Yeah.
So, if anything goes wrong in there, I was always asked the questions, am I liable? Or who is making sure that this process is done properly? Okay.
It's a valid question, but when you go to the CPO market for the commodity murabaha and the bursa, the Sukuk sila, everything has been put in a very standardized agreement. No one word can be added. You have to follow the processes, and that will take place within 2 or 3 minutes.
Sometimes quite long.
So,
fall back, it's like 10, 15.
Yeah, but still everything is being put in the very waterproof document, so there shouldn't be any excessive risk. In theory, there could be some risk because you're buying stock ton of stock. You are not CPO guy, but you're buying for you to sell back. But sometimes there's no one to buy back from you. But in the case of Bursa, there is always someone ready to buy back from you. Otherwise, you are not buying at the first place. So from that perspective, the risk is there, but the risk is very much mitigated or negligible. And the same goes to Sukuk. When you buy the Sukuk, it's a financial asset. You can buy and hold, you can buy and you can trade for some of the spread, if you like. So there's no risk other than commercial risk, which is quite common Islamic and conventional.
So
we shouldn't be worried, yeah. We shouldn't be worried too much. But sometimes people create the worry for them to charge more fee, yeah. Okay.
Any more questions from the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Assalamualaikum Dr.
Salam.
Rumaizi from Bank Islam Trust. We have been helping high net worth for setting up of the foundation, and setting up of the foundation is one thing, and operationalize of the foundation is another thing.
True.
From Labuan report, 70, if I'm not mistaken, 70% of foundation have established is Asian Pacific based. We are lack of the so-called
Middle
founder
Eastern.
from Middle East.
Yeah.
What can we do to entice them to come to Labuan?
It's not about Labuan or whatever, because most of Middle Eastern investors or Middle Eastern family, they are very comfortable with European intermediaries, if you like. In fact, the advisors are European. So the first thing to do is for us to become the advisors over there. So we have to look into two fronts, the advisors of the family and the vehicle that we have in Labuan. Because the advisors are the one who control the decision of this family where to invest. So number one. Number two, we are not visible enough. I mean, to be honest, we are not that visible enough. We are still blurred somewhere. So we have to make ourselves visible. Even our Islamic Trust Foundation, we have to be more active. Perhaps we can put in the Emirates airline magazine. No, it's good because we're talking about how many passengers in the world in a year. So we have to make ourselves visible that we have this Islamic Trust Foundation and so on in Labuan. The third, Romaizi, basically Arab is about, Middle East is about working relationship. That's why I'm traveling every week, not to have this kind of conference, just to meet them one-to-one, to be at their house, to be at their camp, to be at their wedding, or their children's wedding, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. So we have to be close to them in that regard. So this is how we can build the trust. So this is something that many Asian, we don't have that culture. We are putting the suit, we have the bag, suitcase, come to the 5-star hotel and try to meet them officially. That does not work with them. They need something extra. We need to spend more time. We need to have, the moment they invite you to their house, then you can give your prospectus. So after that, they can give you everything to manage, 100 million, 1 billion, 2 billion easily. But you have to spend a lot of time in getting the trust. The moment they trust you, no need to have any NDA, any contract, any document. But if they don't trust you, they create a lot of problem and hassle that you cannot sleep throughout your career life. Yeah. We have many investment, a lot of problems. So I think some other neighboring countries, they are doing that. They spend a lot of time in managing the relationship, not in the 5-star hotel, but beyond that. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? Well, if that's it, thank you so much, Datuk.
Pleasure. Thank you.